Alright students, welcome to Percentage Module 2, Lesson 1, Finding the Whole Given a Part and the Percentage. I'll explain that a little later on. Calculators are allowed for this segment even though I really don't see a need for it. Okay, as you already know, a percentage is just another way of writing fractions, except that the denominator is always 100. I would actually encourage you to either Google or this Wikipedia thing. Go on Wikipedia, this thing called percentage, and you'll really find out a lot of interesting facts about it. We also know that the 100% refers to the whole, right? 100% means whole. In this lesson, we are going to take a look at problem sums where we deal with parts of the whole with percentages, okay? For us to get to this particular point, we've got to define a few things. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at is what are percentages. As we already said, it is a different way of writing a fraction. So instead of saying 100 upon 100 or 50 upon 100, we write it as a percentage. So let's say 32%. That means 32 over 100. 100%, which means 100 over 100. 125%, which means 125 over 100. What is a whole? A whole is pretty much, it represents everything. It represents a whole. So if it is a whole cake, or let's say you have a collection of 20 shirts. So 20 shirts is your entire collection, 100%. That's really what it means. So if it is 20 beads, is everything that you have collected. So that means you've got 100%. It's your complete collection. What is a part? A part is something along the lines of a portion of your collection. That means if you have 20 beads, then let's say 10 out of your 20 beads are red, then you can say 10 out of your 20 beads is considered as a part of your whole. And that is 50%. Am I right? That's it. The objectives of this lesson are really simple. Finding the whole given a part and the percentage, which means basically they'll give you something that is represents a whole system, and then you're supposed to find a percentage of it given the part. Objective number 2 is finding a part given the whole and the percentage. You know what? Instead of looking at these definitions, let's just directly jump into the questions, and then that will make your life a lot easier. Let's proceed towards question 1. Alright students, the first question we are going to look at is going to satisfy the second objective. What is the second objective of this lesson? Finding a part given the whole. In this case, question 1 will give you the whole. So let's look at this question. Sawyer had 420 oranges. He gave 15% of the oranges to Michelle and then threw away 36 rotten oranges. How many oranges does Sawyer have right now? Okay, so let's do first step. Step number 1 is to identify the fact that the whole is 420 oranges, which means 100% is equals to 420 oranges. That is step 1. Then what is step 2? Step 2 is to think about what is 1% going to be. If 100% of the oranges is 420, 1% would be 420 over 100. So what is the percentage of oranges given to Michelle? 15%. So 15% of the oranges would be equal to 420 over 100 multiplied by 15. Now let's learn how to simplify this right here. We're going to simplify it right there. The best way to simplify it is to get rid of all the zeros, not zeros. But anyway, yes, zeros have been taken out of the equation. Let's reduce the 10 and the 5. Let's divide them by 5 each. You get 2 over there, and you get 3 over here. And 42, let's reduce that by divided by 2. 2 cancel off, you get 1. 42 cancel off, you get 21. You're dividing that by 2. So 21 multiplied by 3, what is your final answer going to be? Your final answer at this particular stage of step 2 is going to be 63. Now we can find how many oranges Sawyer has left. Because why? You've got 63 oranges that has been given to Michelle. 36 oranges he has thrown away, sorry. So step 3 is finding the remainder, which is 420, all the oranges he has, minus 63 oranges he gave Michelle, minus 36 oranges he threw away because they were rotten. And what is the remainder? When you do the mathematics behind it, you get 321. And that, my students, is your final answer. Okay, let's look at question 2. All right, students. Question 2 is about money. And this is a scenario that might happen to you anytime soon because most of you students will be in the age group of 11 to 14, and you may be already experiencing all these things about discounts and all that stuff in malls. So this is quite similar. So let's look at the question. Joy bought a refrigerator. She paid $315 for the refrigerator after getting a 10% discount. So basically we have to calculate how much was the discount. Joy bought a refrigerator. She paid $315 for the refrigerator. After getting a 10% discount, how much was the discount? The first step is to identify that the whole is $315 plus the discount. Remember, $315 is not the actual price of the refrigerator. It is the price after 10% discount. So let's look at step 1. $315 is actually equal to what? 100%. 100% minus 10%, which is equals to 90%. 90% equals to $315. Right? 90% equals to $315 because it is the price after the 10% discount. So now we can actually calculate what the discount really is. So step 2. This is the same setup as the previous question, previous example. 1% is equals to 315 over 90. If 90% equals to $315, 1% equals to 315 over 90. Therefore, 10% would be 315 over 90 multiplied by 10%. Which is equals to, do the mathematics in your calculator since you are allowed to use this. Even though the mathematics is quite simple, the answer is $35. That is your final answer. Question 3 is about cars, students. There are many black, blue, green, and red cars in this small town. There are 92 black cars, 73 blue, and 33 green ones. If the percentage of red cars in this particular town is 20.8%, how many red cars are there? Again, the first step is to identify that the whole is the total number of cars in the town. Since we know the percentage of red cars, we can find out how many percent the rest of the cars make up. We know the percentage of red cars is 20.8%, which means step 1 is to find out the remainder. If 20.8% is red, then 100% minus 20.8%, which is equals to 79.2%, are the remainder of the cars. The next step is to find out how many are the black, blue, and green cars. We already know they make up of 79.2%. Am I right? So step 2 is to add up all the numbers. 92 black cars plus 73 blue cars plus 33 green cars equals to what? Add up the numbers, you get 198 cars. 79.2% of these cars equal to 198. Are we on the same page here? If we are, let's move on. So now we can find out how many red cars there are. Okay, 79.2% equals to 198. Therefore, 1% would be 198 over 79.2. If 1% equals to this, therefore 20.8% would be equal to 198 over 79.2 multiplied by 20.8. When you do the mathematics on your little calculator, you will get that the final answer is 52 red cars. 52 red cars. That is your final answer. Percentage lesson 1 completed, students. I actually did this course with my daughter Keisha and my son Ruben right next to me. So I would like to take this opportunity to say to all of you,
Go